must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
Today, thousands and thousands of Africans and many countries in Africa have conflicts. Notably, from Libya, Cameroon, Nigeria, Biafra, and Boko Haram, to Democratic Republic of Congo, of where we have seen a resurgence of the past military and conflicts coming back in that country. Hundreds and hundreds of people have been displaced, killed, maimed, tortured, raped, several of them dying of hunger, starvation, and other natural causes. The fighting seems not to be ending. For the sake of Libya, the Libyan recognized international government is under siege in Tripoli from another faction recognized by Egypt, France, UAE, and other countries. Whereas the one in Tripoli is recognized by the UN, it has been bombarded, has been strangulated, and many millions of Libyans are dying of hunger, lack of water. The water system has been cut off. The bombardment goes on. In Democratic Republic of Congo, we've seen more of active rebel activities returning to the region after some silence has been observed. When we come to Cameroon, we see millions and millions of Amazonians slaughtered. Yet, when you come to Biafra, again millions and hundreds of millions and millions are worried, displaced, tortured by the Buhari regime. Yet again in the north, we see Boko Haram killing, maiming, abducting, and burning down villages in the same Nigeria. When you cross over to Central African Republic, the same is the history that has littered Africa. While all these events are taking shape, Africa is silent. Africa is not making enough efforts to find a solution to what is causing the problems in Libya, in DRC, in Cameroon, in Nigeria, Biafra, and now you add in Khartoum, Sudan. As people die, the people of Africa have no answers, have no solutions. There is nothing to bring an end to the conflicts that have killed Africa. We seem to be new ones manufactured, old ones reignited, encouragement coming from external powers. One power that has been seen in the shadows of all these conflicts, especially the one of Libya that has escalated in the Sahara region of Africa, is France. When you come to Democratic Republic of Congo, the same country is in the shadows. The war can be seen is France. When you come to Cameroon, in Amazonia, the one behind that has the key to bringing peace is France. Therefore, our question as Africans, why are we silent? Why are we not saying enough is enough of the wars? Thank you. Good morning, Africa. Good morning, wherever you are, Africa. Thank you very much. Sorry about that for the delay that we have had this morning. This morning is a good morning in Africa, in Kenya, the Republic of Kenya, in Nairobi. With me in the studio is none other than Miriam Ogutu. Good morning, Miriam.
Good morning to you, and it seems to be a very good morning here. The sunshine is finally back here in Nairobi.
Yes.
After a long period of the cold.
A cold, but we are getting out of the cold.
Yes.
As we get out of the cold this morning, we look bright, and I can see the city of Nairobi looking quite bright. And something is changed today. The screen looks very bright. What has happened? There must be a miracle with the production. Thank you very much, viewers, wherever you are in Zimbabwe, South Africa, my great land, morning, my great leader, hero, the mentor of Africa, the only lion that was remaining roaring for Africa. It's gone down. The burial will take place after 30 days. We were there over the weekend. We saw the funeral service at National Sports Stadium, and it was fantastic. Several leaders came in. Uhuru took the show. Kenya still stands on top. Today's topic, before Miriam comes in with her African news, is a simple topic. I want to add my voice, the lobby for Kenya to take the slot in the United Nations Security Council. The rotational exercise. Remember, Mugabe said one day, he said, why do we waste time flying here every day? Why does Africa waste time every year? Resources. We carry these resources, jet fighters, jets, carry stuff into United Nations. But we have no slot. We are not decision makers on the city of the United Nations Security Council. They make decisions for us, and we take it as Africans. We have always been the best people, remain the best people, tolerant people. Today, this morning, Uhuru Kenyatta, President of the Republic of Kenya, was opening the All Africa Court Conference, Workers' Unity Conference. And he said one thing that touched me. This is the thing I've been saying every day. And thank you very much, Mr. President, for allowing what I've been saying. He said, why do Africans they are dying? We have our African generation dying in the Mediterranean Sea, seeking green pastures. Yet in Africa, if we had unity, one thing, unity, and we use the resources of this continent, the people from the metros of the north would be coming here. We are endowed with plenty of sunshine, plenty of good climate, but we have not utilized it effectively. And we have remained very, very, very disorganized people, day in, day out, fighting each other, discussing things that are not looking for borders, discussing a border, discussing a border, when we are discussing an African passport issued already, and we are discussing border, we are discussing insults, we are discussing enmity, there is always somebody who puts a wedge among African leaders. So remember, thank you very much, President Uhuru Kenyatta, this morning when addressing all African Workers Union in one of the conference centers in town. He was very candid. He said, if we use the resources, our people would not suffer in the Mediterranean Sea, crossing over. We used to condemn slavery. Now slavery has come itself.
In our own.
No, we like it.
We perpetuate it.
No, we take ourselves.
True.
Ogutu, Madam, are you not? Those days they took us. But now
we take
ourselves.
And some of us aid them.
Yes, we take ourselves, we say, enslave us. Those days they bought us.
They took us by force.
By force.
Yes.
They collected us in Benin, Oyo, Ashanti, the empires, via Timbuktu, all this way to Tunis. Those who remember the triangle trade. But now we take ourselves. Because Africa has conflicts. And our young people die in the Mediterranean trying to go there. And what is very interesting, Doc, in that statement, I think now it's also sort of made me think about something else. Because the rest of the world is turning their eyes in Africa and want to come to Africa because they want to have this cake in Africa. Yes. These opportunities. Because it's the only place. And as it is the only place. We are going out there because there are no opportunities. What is the biggest irony in the history of mankind? The only place remaining with something is Africa. So there is nothing. Let me tell you frankly, the only place remaining now where you can have, sorry, I don't know why these things are coming, but it is the only place remaining with resources, Miriam, is Africa. All the rest of these people have exhausted their resources. Yes. The stolen resources from the DRC Congo, which Mabutu, Bokassa in Central African Republic just gave diamonds to the French government. Cameroon, you see, there's chaos. Nigeria, they used to take oil with the corrupted governments of President Abacha and the rest. Oil was being given to them for free. These resources are not there in the metros of Europe. We have very good buildings, but very little work for people there. There are nice buildings, nice bridges, nice roads, but those nice roads cannot be maintained on saliva. So these guys have to cross back to Africa to keep Africa divided in order to take the resources. And yet our young people are moving to go towards there to look for the greener pastures, and yet here we have all the pastures. And if you look at the basis under which, for example, the Somali-Kenya conflict, the underlying tremors are resources. And who has bought these resources? Foreign companies. Who are these foreign companies? Members of the Security Council, of United Nations Security Council, either through third-party proxies. They have paid money to keep that don't give up. We need that diamonds. We need those gold. We need uranium. We need this. Look, keep Congo busy fighting. Give more rebels some ammunition. More rebels have sprung up in Democratic Republic of Congo. Yes. Resources. So, time has come for Africa to rethink, to sit down, analyze, to avoid wars in Biafra, for example, the killings in Nigeria, North Boko Haram, the terrorists of Boko Haram are eating the northern part of Nigeria, day in, day out. They slaughter people. They kill people. Indeed, and even who keeps who keeps this terrorist moving? Why was France determined to dismantle Libya? It's one question that nobody in the world has tried to answer me. Why? France was very determined to bombard Libya, to use resolution 1970 of the United Nations Security Council to kill Libya, because it wanted to remain in the pipeline of terrorists, the terrorists who were in Libya, whom Gaddafi had put down, just extended their sphere of influence south of Sahara region. They are now around the Sahara region. Several of them are being joined by ISIS from other areas who have been defeated in Iraq. They are now concentrating on that triangle, the Sahara triangle that crosses over up to Sudan, Chad, Sudan, Cameroon. All these areas are going to be affected because we did not listen. People don't want Africa united.
They're being affected right now with the scourge of Boko Haram. It's just the other day, I think they met the leaders of Sahel together with the ECOWAS members. They have met in Burkina Faso, I believe, and they were discussing this matter, Boko Haram. They've just left it to, now it has festered the whole of that region, and it's spreading very speedily, even in the other African countries which are not in that part. So this is, I don't know why this has not been, and I keep asking here so many times, this has not been something urgent that even should be discussed at the AU as an urgent matter. The Boko Haram and
nobody has brought this thing to the AU. Nobody wants intervention. They say Nigerian army is able to conquer Boko Haram, but we haven't seen any movement so far.
The movement you see is Boko Haram growing.
Growing and then coming to take more girls of younger generation, our girls, smaller people's younger men being inscripted in terrorist organization. But that is for another day. Today we shall, after your African news, we shall actually stick on the lane and try to ask one question that everybody wants. What are the prospects of Kenya's fight for United Nations Security Council slot? I will lay down brick by brick, inch by inch, soil by soil, the prospects of how and the obstacles that we might encounter. But at the same time, telling Kenyans we shall overcome. We shall win at the end of the day. Kenya is the beacon of hope. Kenya is the kitchen of East and the Central African region of the Great Lakes region. If it doesn't cook, the rest don't eat.
There'll be a problem.
So, here we are.
So you have
let's go.
You have confidence that Kenya...
Oh yes, let's go. Matanga is here.
All right, so let me just hurry.
Let me, I will not be in New York, but I want to give moral support.
Yes.
I will be engaged elsewhere. And the truth that I will tell, I will sound everything. I'll have a program, a show with Sky News next week live. And that's the time. That's the timing. They will be asking me on a number of issues, which include the United Nations Security Council and the peace process of South Sudan. Apparently, my editor has come back.
Okay.
The man who sacked me has returned.
Retired or returned?
Returned.
Okay.
So, I'm back in business.
So the editor is the one who sacked you?
No,
back again.
I mean the Sky News sacked me, but the owner of Sky News loves me.
Ah, okay. Your contribution.
Oh yes, he gave me the job. Out of 10,000 white commercial, white, I am not talking about commercial farmers. Out of 10,000, I got a job. My CV was outstanding. I could recite all the former presidents, the presidents of Africa. It means I passed the interview. So thank you very much. I will be on Sky News next week, live.
Yes.
And I will be doing the bidding for my country, my Great Lakes region country, the kitchen of Africa.
The kitchen of
It
Africa.
cooks, and Africa eats.
All right.
And if it doesn't cook, if there's no smoke in Kenya, Burundi will not have smoke. Yes, if there's no smoke in Kenya, Uganda does not eat. So you must keep Kenya. People ask me all the time, why Kenya? Why are you talking about? Because if Kenya is dead, my country is dead automatically. We automatically die. That's why I saw the vision like Winston Churchill said, up there, where this long line, the railway goes, there lies a country whose temperature is 70 degrees throughout the year. And that country is called the Pearl of Africa. But the Pearl of Africa needs the kitchen of Africa. After Winston Churchill arrived in Port Victoria, and I'm teaching some people here, hello, who don't know the geography and the history of this country. Kisumu was called Port Victoria.
Yes.
No, there's another name for it. I'll get it. When the railway arrived there, there was a name. Those out there, we are in class now. The name was, there's a name I'm going to tell you. So when Winston Churchill said, when we have reached the shores of the water that does not melt, that does not boil, but is stagnant, but it talks. It looks like there is a God. And that God, according to us Ugandans, we call it Narubale. I don't know what Luo called that God.
Could you first translate what Narubale?
Narubale means God.
Okay.
We used to, but look at Lake Victoria. When you stand on top of Mount Elgon, 14,000 feet above sea level, you see the horizon. The horizon of the entire Narubale, the lakes in the Great Lakes region up to Albertine region. So Winston Churchill said, I mistakenly, 1901, this railway arrives in a seaport. I'll get the name. It was not Victoria. It's a very, very, very difficult name. So, but how do we cross this lake to reach that land? The weather around the port, this is Winston Churchill, read his book. The weather around the port is not the weather that Dr. Livingstone, Captain Lugard, Morton Stanley, Button speak. The people who came and saw this lake, who felt the weather and returned to the Royal Geographical Club in London and told the world that there lies a land whose temperature is throughout 70 degrees. And that was the Pearl of Africa. Therefore, the railway from 1901, we embarked again, the East African Trading Company embarked on the route through Eldoret, Tarubo, Bungoma, Webuye, Malaba, through Uganda, Tororo, Jinja, Namasagari route was to go and get the fish from Lake Chog, up to again the copper mines of Kilembe. In 1954, we passed, the railway arrived in Kilembe. 1 year before I was brought on planet Earth. Because I was brought on planet Earth that same year at 3:30 p.m. East African Standard Time. Heavy man with a weight that was very, very equivalent. So Miriam, that's it. Today, our topic, can prospects of Kenya's fight for the slot of the United Nations Security Council, that is important to Africa, to the region, to the peace, to the accountability of this region. Kenya has managed to sustain, to hold the refugees, huge numbers of refugees. Such a country must be having a voice on the Security Council to discuss the problems of refugees in the region. There you are. I'm going to do the bidding. Yes. I over to you, Madam, yes, for the African news. And my viewers, wherever you are in Cairo, in Tripoli, in Cape Town, in Harare, there seems to be a problem in Zimbabwe.
There is, and I have some news here.
People abduct people. Tactics of regime change. I'm going to tell you, I've got it already. I picked several things from international intelligence agencies. What is happening on Zimbabwe is very, very demoralizing. That we have internal cliques of regime change that want to depict the government of President Emerson Mnangagwa as a killer government, and these people are doing a very dangerous game, picking people, killing them, abducting them. It waits until you are going to the to the United Nations General Assembly, and then it emerges. Have you seen what life is in Africa? This is what Uhuru Kenyatta was saying. As long as we have this type of problems, we still have a problem. As long as we have the quarrels in Biafra, the fights in Biafra, the killings in Biafra, the killings in Cameroon, the killings in Central African Republic, the suffering of people in Asmara, Eritrea, the people who have died in Mediterranean Sea come from Eritrea. And this president tall, 6.1 feet tall. That guy there, my friend Efeki, we worked together in London. I thought he had read some democracy. He could come back and lead these people. He allows the people to die in the sea.
And he's closed all the hospitals and schools that are operating.
Useless man. Very useless. Very useless guy. I knew him. You know, I knew this guy. You know, whenever we go to watch football with Zenawi, this guy could laugh at us that we are useless people. He didn't know how to use his time. Kumbe, he was reading minds on how he would torture Eritreans. For us, we are releasing our brains after working so hard. He said we are very bad people. We are kafirs because we drink beer. We used to go to one of the pubs with Zenawi, myself, Damba Nambago, Wafula, and several other Africans, Ugandans, Michael Materesi, all this. We used to sit in one of the pubs near Emirates football club, that does not perform anymore. So we used to say, let them go and we watch it from the screen. Because when they lose from there, they can even beat you at the railway station to wait for them to go away. At the railway, then we can enter Islington and Highbury.
They're the gourmet here of the UK.
And then we go down to Victoria station, then go disappear to our places. Zenawi was my great friend. The late Zenawi, may his soul rest in peace. A great patriot, an African who left, who changed Ethiopia to its level as it is today.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you. Over to you, Miriam.
All right, thank you so much. And wherever you're watching us. It's good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on where you are in the world. So let me just take us quickly in the latest from the continent, and then we'll talk about it and come to our topic of the day, and that is the prospects of Kenya's fight for the United Nations Security Council slot. And so we start with Nigeria, where the Nigerian police have arrested 2 suspects in connection with the hotel serial killings in the southern city of Port Harcourt. At least 8 women have been found strangled in different hotel rooms in Nigeria's oil capital in the River State since July. Outrage over the killings have prompted a social media campaign using the hashtag Protect PH Women and Protect PH Girls to demand that authorities do more to stop them. And a committee looking into abuses in Burundi has concluded that President Pierre Nkurunziza is personally accountable for serious violations. They have presented their final report before the International Human Rights Council in Geneva. Investigators found that opposition members, their families, and people who have not cooperated with the ruling party ahead of the next year's elections have been killed, abducted, or tortured. The UN Commission's report say agents of the National Intelligence Service, the police, and the ruling party youth wing were the main perpetrators of the crimes against humanity. And Senegalese government says the women suffering from breast or cervical cancer will be offered free chemotherapy in public hospitals from the beginning of October. Dr. Barango Prebo says other countries on the continent like Rwanda, Namibia, and Seychelles also offer free chemotherapy. An estimated of $1.6 billion has been allocated by the Senegalese government for the new measure. Already in 2015, the government agreed to cover at least 30% of the cost of treating all cancers there in Senegal. And we go to Mozambique, where authorities have closed down a center set up to host Mozambicans who fled the xenophobic attacks in neighboring South Africa because no new people are fleeing. In all, 138 people stayed at the center. They are taken to different parts of Maputo province on Friday. The attack started earlier this month after a lorry driver staged a strike to protest against the employment of foreigners. And 12 people, of course, were killed, 10 of them being South Africans. And Rwanda and Uganda have agreed to resolve issues that have strained bilateral relations in recent months. Through an ad hoc committee, the 2 sides have been working on the differences in order to diffuse the tensions. The talks build on a memorandum of understanding that was signed in Angola 1 month ago to end the dispute that prompted both countries to accuse the other of spying, political assassinations, and meddling. The tensions had also prompted Rwanda to close the border with its northern neighbor, that is Uganda. And still in Rwanda, and a court in Rwanda has sentenced a Kenyan man to 2 years in jail for conning young Rwandans into paying a registration fee for a wealth conference that never happened. Thousands of young people showed up in the capital Kigali for the conference organized by Charles Kinuthia at the Kigali Convention Center on 25th of June. And we go to Tunisia, where Tunisia's Electoral Commission on Tuesday confirmed that law professor Kais Said and detained media mogul Nabil Kouri had won the most voters in the first round of the country's presidential election and will contest a runoff vote. The Commission's announcement following a full count of votes confirmed the exit polls released on Sunday evening and partial results issued throughout Monday. Sunday's vote had been seen in Tunisia as a sharp rebuke of the establishment political forces that have dominated since the 2011 revolution, failing to address economic troubles that include high unemployment and inflation. And the self-declared independent Somaliland has given tough conditions for future dialogue with Somalia on bilateral relations after the last talks collapsed in Turkey in 2015. They include demands that Mogadishu admit that Somaliland was an independent country and that international intergovernmental organizations and institutions use the name, map, emblem, and flag of Somaliland in their project documents. Somali, they're in trouble now. And some news from Biafra, and leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Mr. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, has described the Igbo people in particularly and Biafrans in general as the most traumatized and humanized people in Nigeria. Kanu, who also said that in spite of their traumatization and dehumanization, they're historically known to be industrious and hardworking people who have shunned looting and exhibiting kleptomaniac and terrorist characters, yet have been deliberately denied the sense of belonging and pride in the Nigerian project. He added that Biafrans have repeatedly suffered the levels of sustained genocide, economic disapprobation, emasculation, institutional marginalization, and political exclusion, and above all denied the benefits of citizenship and perks of nationhood in Nigeria. The IPOB leader was addressing the European Parliament during an interactive session. And in Tunisia, Algerians will head, and in Algeria, they will head to the polls in December 12th. The country's interim president said as weekly protests have continued in the northern African country for more than 6 months. Abdelkader Ben Salah made the announcement during a televised speech on Sunday, calling on Algerians to make December 12th an historic day to make the dreams of their people concrete. And in Zimbabwe, United Nations Special Rapporteur Clement Vol is in Zimbabwe this week on a 10-day visit to assess the human rights situation, as rights groups accuse the government of being behind recent disappearances of activists in the country. It is the first official visit by an independent human rights expert to Zimbabwe. His trip comes as doctors and nurses in Zimbabwe hold vigils and protest to call attention to the disappearance of Peter Gabriel Nagombei, acting president of the Zimbabwean Hospital Doctors Association. And we end with Botswana, where the first group of more than 800 Namibian refugees were deported on Tuesday from Botswana after resisting calls for voluntary repatriation. The refugees fled their home country in 1999 following a secession uprising. The migrants have refused to return home, citing fears of persecution from the Namibian authorities. And that is the latest from the continent this morning. Thank you so much for joining us. And yesterday, the leader of IPOB made a very interesting speech there, Doctor, at the European Parliament. He got an opportunity. Mr. Nnamdi Kanu.
Yes.
Yes.
Nnamdi Kanu.
Yes.
Is making inroads.
He is slowly.
But the point that we want to say, they encourage the people of Nigeria, and especially the people of Biafra, is a sustainable discussion of the matters that affect this nation called Nigeria. The world changes in the United Nations Security Council, for example. It looks like the independence of Biafra seems to be tied to the independence of Amazonia. When you discuss Amazonian issue under Resolution 1608 in the General Assembly, which is sitting now in New York, everybody wants to run away. Simply because once you discuss Amazonia, automatically you must begin. Also across the border, there is a question of Biafra.
Yes.
Now, Nigeria was supposed to bring back the motion of Amazonia in the Security Council.
Nigeria.
Nigeria
now.
Yes.
What
it was told.
What the irony in the world is that?
From 1961,
yes,
it was told that we can bring back this motion so that countries can follow it up. But the leaders, the military leaders who took over power, including Obasanjo and the rest of all these guys, did not want to take this motion back to the United Nations General Assembly. President Ahidjo of Cameroon, by then, before this other lunatic called Paul Biya,
yes,
came to power, had actually resisted all formats, tricks, intrigue, never for that region to separate from Cameroon, Yaoundé. Now, the 1967 war, as a result of this, the pressure started picking up until 1967, until the war broke out, with General Aronzi taking over power and, killing so many people. Sorry, they killing a lot of Biafrans, which led to the war that took place, that ended in 1967. Now, if you look at all that time, from 1961, there was always pressure for Biafra to have independence, even before, because these states were just cut by the Lughards and the other governors and the people, the colonial master who sat 1884.
So the pressure started before Nigeria got its independence?
Yes.
Okay.
No, the pressure for a separate Biafra. Nigeria, Biafra and a separate states is not only in Nigeria. Most of these states, Uganda, for example, Uganda underwent the most difficult times because up there when Churchill said the place where we have reached with the railway 1901 is not the one I wanted. There is something very good up there. A kingdom united, a kingdom already aware of its rights. Uganda had a similar problem like the Biafran problem. Because we, in Uganda, we were not colonized. Just as Nigeria was not colonized. In Uganda, we were put under protectorate. We are protected because we knew how to write. We knew how to sing our poems. We knew our kings. We had kings. Biafra had a king. I'm telling you the truth. This is the African history. When Uganda had 4 kings, the kingdom of Bunyoro, Ankole, the kingdom of Buganda, the biggest, and the kingdom of Busoga. 4 kingdoms formed the great country called Uganda. With their kings, the most powerful king amongst this one was King Mutesa. The last one of the Chwa, the Daudi Chwa, Mwanga, all this, that's history we can teach all these younger boys. So when the colonial man in 1884 just sat down and said, bring them up. And then they said, this one belongs here. That one belongs here. But this one we shall not colonize. This one we colonize. Why? They found people scattered in views. Kenya was colonized because of scattered views. Uganda was not colonized because we had one uniform view. We had also already been dominated by an internal colonizer who taught us manners, behavior, kneeling. That's why you see our women kneel. Our women don't greet us while they're watching us in the faces. Don't look us in the face. When the husband comes from work, remove the shoes and ask him how was work. Because we consider the Bible as God says, I will give you a helper. God never said, I'm giving you an equal partner. Yeah. Let this be known. I'm sorry, women. Because if God had created both on the same day, Adam and Eve, there would be no equality here fighting for women parity. Why did God choose to create one first and then create the second one? These are questions that people must answer. Kingdoms were there before these so-called political outfits arrived. That's why you see Africa is now being disturbed on the kingdom levels. The kings are saying, the kings in the graves are haunting back the generation today. Emperor Haile Selassie in the grave, the Lion of Judah in Ethiopia is haunting Ethiopia today. The Prime Minister is just a figurehead. In Uganda, we still have remnants, very serious remnants of the kingdom. It has not been completely suppressed. Although what I like about Uganda type of decentralization system, give the kingdoms, I give credit, you know, this is why people hate me. I give credit to Museveni where it is due. He has decentralized. He has made the kingdoms less powerful, but they have their role as cultural institutions. They teach Ugandans, Baganda are taught how to have manners, how to eat. You don't shout while the food is in the mouth. Our younger children today shout with food in the mouth, passing on people. He's talking. You don't just come and greet an elder as if you are greeting your equal. You must stand and say, sir, or in your language, whether Igbo or Uganda or Ashanti, say it. That respect is gone. We have found new cultures that have come to spoil. That's why you see the people of Biafra are saying they want institutions. They want their institutions back. Are we together today? Yes.
Yes.
That's why you see everywhere the Zulu in South Africa are powerful than the rest of the tribes. It's not their mistake. Because Shaka Zulu was already organized by the arrival of the white Boers who dominate the economy and have now made us to fight. They have even paid blacks to kill other blacks. Because they failed to dismantle the central part of the black institutions. So what do? Pay these blacks to go and slaughter the other blacks to create the collapse of ANC. You see that? Ramaphosa must hire some of us for publicity instead of him being booed. If he came to Kenya here to address a conference in Nairobi University, children will throw stones at him. He's the most unpopular leader today on the African continent. And Mr. Ramaphosa, if you want to clear your name, hire people like us who have suffered the brunt of your embassies. If you want to get a visa, you are Ugandan, you want to go to South Africa, they tell you to tell your father's date of birth. My father died when I was not here. He has not told me the date of birth. How do I have a visa application form of that stupidity? Then you call yourself South Africa. Why do you ask people the date of birth of your father? Of the father died. My father has died a long time ago. He never told me. My mother raised me. How do I know the date of birth? South Africa is a fake situation. It's very fake. Look at their visa section. Go there. Have you been there?
No, don't.
They will not give you a visa. They will tell you to bring your land title of your father and death certificate of your father. That's South Africa for you. This is a country that we think it is one of the countries that an example of South Africa will make Africa better. We are done it. It's killed. It's gone. Their institutions are colonial. They only turned in color by them being black president. But all institutions in South Africa are white.
And they continue to
do that.
Yes.
They ask you, you can't send 1,000 shillings. The people are talking of African trade. How will you trade with South Africa? You're a businessman and you're in Cape Town. You want to send $500 to your family in Kampala. They ask you more questions than having, if you have gone for a holiday in Cape Town, it might even become sour holiday. Because you cannot send $500 back to Kampala to your family. The questionnaire itself on the paper says go and bring permit. South Africans believe in permits, in document. They don't believe in a human being. That the man behind you is not a thief in front of your counter. They believe that everybody but in front of the counter is a thief. That's a colonial mentality. That every African entering New Stanley Hotel is going to steal. You be careful. That's why we have guards. Where did we develop the area of guards? Have you asked yourself? Every home in Nairobi has somebody waiting at the gate. Our forefathers never had guards at the door because every man would come to the family. But we started developing askari. So we have askari everywhere. And we have carried the whole thing everywhere. You go, you find men in uniform, even those who cannot even run.
That is true.
We have developed, we have inherited a very bad behavior in Africa. And the worst part of Africa is South Africa, which has inherited these bad manners of killing other Africans.
And Malema was challenging that when he was giving that speech during the Robert Mugabe Memorial. The EFF party had one for him last week in Pretoria, and he was saying, what other races? And he was saying the white man came here, he's having a company, you're going there, you're working for him. What is wrong with you not wanting to work to another black man? What is the problem? Because you have a problem going to work for a black man from another country in Africa, but you don't have a problem going to work in a company that has been developed by a white person. Why are you not banning that and you're banning this other one run by another fellow black person who has bewitched you that you feel your own skin is not appropriate?
Most of the people, you are right, most of the people who are affected in South Africa are Biafrans. These are Biafran doctors. South Africa doesn't have doctors. It does not have medical doctors, not enough to cater for the patients. If all these people leave South Africa and go somewhere else, South Africa will be crying with shortages of doctors and nurses. It has not trained enough. Since 1994, we are still using the method of training, which is partly to blame for the low production of doctors. So these are some of the things Africa needs to look at. Another thing.
Any other thing? I see the Biafrans are here. Your leader was yesterday addressing the European Union Parliament there, and he said that Igbos and Biafrans in general are the most traumatized and dehumanized people in Nigeria, and in spite of all this traumatization and dehumanization, they are historically known to be industrious and hardworking, and who have shunned looting, even despite of what has been happening to them in Nigeria. But they've shunned away looting, and they've not exhibited these other characteristics that are not good in the society. Yet they have deliberately been denied the sense of belonging and pride in the Nigerian project. And so he also added that they have repeatedly suffered levels of sustained genocide, economic decapitation, emasculation, institutional marginalization, which I think is very, very obvious, and also political exclusion. And they have all been denied the benefits of citizenship and perks of nationhood in Nigeria. So there you are. The leader of IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, yesterday was addressing the European Union Parliament there. And those are some of the, the things he was saying that is forcing now the Biafrans to want to be their own people and to have their own country, because you cannot stay in a place where you're consistently traumatized and dehumanized every waking day. So it becomes very difficult. And of course, Biafrans are known to be very hardworking in nature. What is the problem? And also other Africans, we see they're very hardworking in nature. So when they go to a country like South Africa, you find other people who are not perhaps very hardworking. Now it becomes a problem. We have to be hardworking if you want to move this continent forward. And Biafrans are known to be hardworking in that sense.
They work hard everywhere. If you go to United States, they are the most hardworking. They are the doctors, specialists in NASA, in electronics. They are. Their demand for a status must be discussed. And their leader has taken a good step.
Yes, slowly but surely. Slowly they get.
And I liked what Babangida was saying. He wants to reorganize Nigeria. That word is still that Nigeria needs reorganization.
In what sense?
To reorganize it.
That's a very heavy word.
Because, the North does not click with the South. neither the south does not click with
The north.
the east, and the east does not click with the west. You see, the type of development that we see, unbalanced development in Nigeria, is you reach Lagos, but if you want to reach your home for Christmas, you must start to go to your home 1 month in advance. Because the roads have potholes, a crater, not potholes. You go, the car goes down, then it takes another 30 minutes negotiating to go up. Then by the time you reach your house in the southeastern of parts where oil comes from, the poorest so far, by the time you reach, believe me or not, Christmas will be over.
You're into next year.
Yes.
The new year.
So a person, it is easier to leave London to go to Lagos or Abuja, but very difficult to reach your house.
From Lagos towards your
Yes, that is the state of affairs of Africa. I want to allow the president, President Uhuru Kenyatta, for the roads. People are not seeing the infrastructure. For you now, from here, you can leave this place, the studio, and immediately go.
Yes.
And you are in Kisumu.
Yes, indeed.
In fact, I saw the roads in Kisumu. My God, Mama.
It's very good.
Mama Mia. Very good roads in Kisumu.
And please don't forget to mention we have now an international airport.
Yeah, we have an international airport.
It's
you
very
can
important.
fly in.
The good flights are coming there now.
Yes, big flights. Emirates is about to land there.
It should.
As soon as the president commissions the port and the regeneration of Kisumu city. So, but in Port Harcourt, in Lagos, in Onitsha, in all these places, people struggle to reach home. You have gone for Christmas, you need 1 month to prepare for the day, the birth of the Son of God. By the time you reach your mother's house, the ceremony is over. And then you have prepared 1 other month to return to Europe. The roads are not there. Airports are not there. This is a country that produces oil. One of the 3rd largest country in the world in oil production. We know Saudi Arabia and others, then you come to Nigeria in Africa. It produces oil. But where does the oil go? If you want, you live. I've been in Lagos. I used to stay in Sheraton Hotel. By then it was Sheraton. There was a hotel, Sheraton, I hope it is still there. It is to go for conferences. You have to, it is better to walk in Lagos than to get in a car, because you will be sweating throughout by the time you arrive your conference, because the car will not move.
Why? The traffic is?
Not traffic. Traffic, yes, but petrol. This is the state of our African countries.
What do you mean? They're producing oil. They don't have gas in the stations.
It is not there.
Mismanagement.
I don't know. It's cursed. We have been cursed.
Yeah.
Africa is cursed. Africa is cursed. Look, Mugabe died. How many leaders went to bury Mugabe?
From Africa.
Yes, even those who profess to be Pan-Africans. When you am a Pan-African, they never appeared there.
By the way, how many? No, just
General Assisi.
to think about it.
General Assisi,
He did not come
the chairman
of the
of African Union. Mugabe paid a check of 1 million shillings for that man to eat. That tall Chadian man to eat. That is fifth from Chad of African Union. Fifth, Kabisa.
And is it
A man who has sold African Union to France. We are zero. We have been captured. I've been telling you every day here. Africa is captured. African Union is captured. I am not a diplomat. I am an activist for Africa. I don't care. You can kill me. But I'll tell you the truth. African Union is stupid. There is nothing there.
Did they even send somebody to present them there, to represent them at there?
I looked at the list, I don't know. The smaller delegate there.
And is it a coincidence that the Sahel region members
now some
were
people
meeting?
Can I tell you the
truth?
truth?
They were meeting.
Now that the objection why people did not turn up in Harare to the heads of state, France has told them Sahawari president was available. Morocco is another neo-colonial state, satellite state on the African continent that pays some African corrupt foreign ministers money. I'm telling you, that's why we should enter this other topic of Kenya quickly. And I see these are countries that are going to sabotage Kenya's bid for the AU, for the African...
For the Security Council,
yes,
the United Nations.
They pay money. Morocco pays cash.
So before we just get there, how many, because I know Uhuru Kenyatta was there, Cyril Ramaphosa was there, which other African leader?
Uhuru was there,
yes.
Mutharika was there, Swapoman was there.
And I was also happy to see Kenneth Kaunda.
Kaunda, yes, I in fact, I closed the sat near Kaunda. He remembers me. The people, there were many. Tanzania sent a vice president.
Oh, that's good.
Amama, that lady. Sudan sent.
And the great Pan-African in East Africa, Yoweri Museveni, did not show.
No.
What, did he send?
I took the seat. Didn't you see me? I had my hat. You know, I carried the hat. When I saw that President Museveni was not going to appear there, I carried my hat.
But is there a reason why he failed to appear?
I don't know whether this hat can be brought, my production, so that people can see me. On this hat, the hat I was wearing in Zimbabwe. I carried my big hat. Moses, you saw my hat. A big hat. I had to wear the hat, which looks like M7, so that I was embarrassed. When I looked at the podium, that's why I did not show up too much near the podium, because people will think.
Because Museveni has been known to be
a very great friend.
A Pan-African, a good friend to...
But it looks like he has never forgiven Mugabe.
For what? For
stopping him from annexing Congo.
He wanted to everybody wants a bite of Congo.
Now and then he did not turn up. I was embarrassed.
I was embarrassed.
And in fact, so many people were asking me, where is your president?
Where was your president? I know you have two presidents here, your Pan-African brother, who showed up, and I think he's representing Africa. That's why Kenya must get this seat at the United Security Council.
Kenya is a viable state. I looked at people. Hey, Lungu. Oh, people were there. Zambia was there. People, the old Sadaka countries, most of them attended. Kabila. In fact, I bumped into Kabila in the Sheraton Hotel.
Joseph Kabila.
No, Rainbow. He said, you. I said, what is it? I told you, you lose power now, we are here. Obasanjo, these are the former presidents. So Chisano.
Kabila hasn't lost power. His party still controls 60% of Tshisekedi's government. So he's still in his government. He's the government.
He was there.
Yes.
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 Nigeria sent a delegation. Of course.
They were attending the meeting for stopping the Boko Haram, and they were addressing the security. But could they not stop that when such a son of Africa died? Could they not have stopped that and maybe pushed it to another day to make sure that they're able to attend and show their last respect?
President Kufu Adu Nana.
Nana Adu.
Of course. Now the problem of Africa is this. Morocco says any country that goes there, it means it has endorsed Sahawari. Because the Zimbabweans, you know, the Sahawari president has been having his stays in Zimbabwe.
Asylum.
And that flies from Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is his second home.
Okay.
So the Zimbabweans put on the program. He was the first one to gonga the microphone. the president of Sahawari. So Moroccans were very upset.
And that is what now Somaliland
wants.
It's saying that it wants its independence, and it has put very tough. And then we can get to our topic of the day. It has put a very tough future dialogue conditions for future dialogue with Somalia. It has said that they demand from Mogadishu admit that Somaliland wants to be recognized as an independent country, and that international intergovernmental organization institutions use their name, Somaliland's name, map, emblem, and flag of Somaliland in their project documents. So there you go. So the same thing that is happening there in Morocco.
Somalia, Mogadishu will remain alone with their terrorist groups. I'm telling you, but because the attitude Famijo is creating, these countries will be, one of these major superpowers is going to recognize very soon. Sorry, believe me or not, I am just telling Famijo for his information. Very soon, one of the superpowers will recognize Somaliland, and that will be the end of Somalia. So, Mr. Famijo, you need friends in the region. You don't need enemies. I'm talking as an elder older than you, Mr. Famijo. Because I saw the sun before you. You came later. If the sun had killed me and we all collapsed, you would not have been born. So respect is demanded. You know, Famijo was watching my clip and said, who is this fat man? By the way, Famijo, I listened to everything from that Somali house, that Villa Somalia. I have friends there, sir.
Villa, is that the state?
Yes. Villa. Don't think I don't know. I have friends. These are men I helped in Streatham in London. They are with you.
Villa?
Yeah, Villa Somalia.
What are they calling state house? Villa?
Yeah, Villa Somalia. You didn't know. These boys, when they came to London, I filled their forms for them to get asylum. They have come back. They are there. Don't think I don't have a stake there.
At Villa Somalia?
I have a stake, Mr. Famijo.
At Villa Somalia?
Yes.
Okay.
So many of them. So he was watching my program and they said, this fat man. Who is this fat man? You know, the day I was hammering, trying to persuade Somalia not to take this matter across. Across the bridge, there is no sorrow. But behind where you have left, there is sorrow. Somalia has a sorrow. But you want to cross to sell those oil ridges.
Wants to or already has. Has it not auctioned this place?
You see?
So now it has to pay the debt.
You know what Famijo forgets is that the most of the people who have come back to be with there, they are people that we helped in London. They found me, I had an off license, which is called liquor license, on Streatham High Road. Most of these boys could bring their forms to fill. They didn't know English. They have come back. They have made money. They have taken over towns in London. They are very hard-working people. So Mr. Famijo thinks I don't have a stake in Somalia.
You also have a stake
in Somalia?
Now you're joining Turkey and Qatar.
No, don't worry. I am one single man who was like Qatar and
put together.
Yes, okay. I can talk and some people there can listen to me. In that whole MP, the members of parliament in Somalia, most of them are my friends. We went to school. I encouraged them to come to school with me when I was studying for my master's degree and other things. Say, let's go, train, don't sit here. I sell the off license during daytime, 3 o'clock, I leave my daughter to sell until I go and hammer the 1 or 3 lessons, come back of Kalomax. That's how I suffered. Wagwan. So Famijo thinks that he's the only one. Somalia is for all of us. Yes. And if he's not careful, one Somalia is going very soon. Listen to me and watch me. Let me remove this. Is going.
Going where?
One nation is going to recognize, one superpower is about to recognize Somalia, one of the Somalis. I'm telling you, you just give it a few months. The events happening in Mogadishu.
Somaliland has been working very hard
peaceful.
To create alliances and to
go to that place, Hargeisa. Very beautiful.
You forget you're in Somalia.
No, you forget that this is where you have to look behind.
Okay.
There are not even checks. People have lived peacefully because they know everybody. You see? But because these guys who came to power in Somalia sold Somalia.
Maybe
while they were in exile.
Famajo would learn something from Somaliland and Jubaland. He
can't learn. He just wants to conquer them.
He could learn something from the oasis of peace there. It's like a desert, and there's a place there you find some place you can get some fresh water. Somaliland and Jubaland is like an oasis in the greater Somalia that has been under the threat of terrorism and other insecurities across the board. So do we go straight to our topic? And we see you here writing to us this afternoon, Best Olinia, saying thank you for the good job you're doing for Africa. God bless you people. Nwachuku, you're saying good morning Africa, good morning Biafrans, good morning world. It is afternoon here. And Chiboza, you're saying Biafra freedom is our hope and future in Africa. Support Biafra referendum now. And we've seen what Nnamdi Kanu has been doing. Ogebe, just saying you're writing us from Germany this morning. Guten Morgen or Guten Tag from here. And we've seen he's making stride, and he had a speech yesterday at the European Union Parliament, and he expressed the suffering that Igbo and other Biafrans have been suffering there. So he's still on. He's in line with the dream of realizing Biafra nation. So we go quickly to our topic of the day today, Doctor. The prospects of Kenya's fight.
All right. Thank you very much. And I will do it in two pieces. One piece will be a call on Africa School of Thought, which I will do. But before we do that, let's discuss. Kenya is seeking a slot in the United Nations Security Council. Kenya qualifies as a country in the Great Lakes region to take on this slot, to use it effectively, to dispense the type of services that go off with the responsibility of being a member of the United Nations Security Council. Kenya is a model of peace, an island of peace in the region of turmoil. Kenya presents a unique position in the sense that the banking, the economic hub of the Great Lakes region, the ticking veins of this region remain here. Despite the few hiccups, Kenya has been the center of international conferences ranging from UN. Kenya is also equally the headquarters of one of the major offices of the United Nations in south of Sahara. The United Nations offices in Gigir present a position, a very unique position for this country called Kenya to take on the mantle to lead the other states within the sub-Saharan region for the year 2022. It is therefore very, very important for us to support the Kenyan people, the Kenyan nation, the Kenyan government in search for this slot. The question of my dear brothers of Djibouti, I am a Pan-African. But we have had countries in Africa that always violate African Union Charter and regulations. One of them is Morocco, which is said for 32 years it was not a member of African Union until it saw its own isolation that it decided to apply to be readmitted in the African Union. Djibouti is a member of the African Union. We have quite a lot of things in common with Djibouti. We have educated some of their people here. We have close links. But Djibouti seemed to be taken and whipped, used to whip by one non-African state party that has captured the African Union. If you look at the countries, the 13 that voted for Djibouti, you can tell the story of why African Union has a very big problem and an uphill task in resolving and bringing unity amongst the African states. Therefore, Kenya remains the biggest, remains one of the best contenders, and we want to encourage the people of the world to help to vote for Kenya. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for that submission. And of course, we're basing this conversation because the Djiboutian government in August appeared to rescind its earlier decision to respect the African Union's vote to endorse Kenya's candidature for the United Nations Security Council seat, signaling lack of faith in the process it took part in 3 times. This process took part 3 times. And
yes.
Djibouti all along participated and agreed from whatever findings and whatever results that were agreed upon. And so Kenya was, of course, elected, and Djibouti's permanent representative to the United Nations, Mohamed Siad Douale, said his country will continue to vie for the non-permanent seat by taking the campaign directly to the United Nations member states. So that turnaround was very shocking because AU was not expecting, so was Kenya, and because the vote had taken place 3 times and all times it was respected. So how is it now Djibouti decided it will go against the AU? That has been the culture, that African Union will elect one member to go represent them at the UN. They'll propose one member and in one voice and have them represent them in the UN Security Council. But in this case, Djibouti went against the African Union. Let's just start from there. If some things that have been determined by African Union and you're a member state and you decide to go against that, what does that say about you as a country, and what is the future of bodies like African Union in this continent?
It is really ceremonial because they don't have teeth to bite. We could actually suspend members, like we can suspend Djibouti for failing to rally to the side of African Union resolution. But it is not in the charter of the AU to actually dismember. But
could there be a disciplinary action to that? Or is
I think it could be only condemnation.
Which they have not.
Which the AU has not done.
It has not, yes.
And you know why. So you wouldn't like to ask many questions. Since we have a French puppet called Musa Muhammad Faki.
Yes.
So they haven't condemned that. But all the same, Kenya was fronted by AU. We shall have all those 34 countries voting direct. Then we shall have to get other states in the world, traditional friends of the people of Kenya.
Yes, indeed. And of course, if you're wondering,
some news coming in that Punguza Muzigo has yet suffered another blow in Homa Bay.
What? Of course, Homa Bay.
So
our court was in Homa Bay today.
Yes. It has failed in Homa Bay.
But I love his daring. I love that he dared to try. Because why would you think taking that thing to Homa Bay after what Baba said would even sail through? So I love that that did not stop him, his spirit, his fighting spirit, I don't know. But
they have said,
yes.
If you are George Soros, the fighting speed is there.
It's well oiled.
It's well oiled. The man has already got money and bought a house for his concubines. So what else?
No, I'm not shaking to that.
Yeah, I'm telling you the truth.
Okay.
Yes. It's bought houses. He got the money. He's only doing this thing of running around the country that Punguza. These younger men who shout on Facebook, useless. They will not be there to vote. They will be drinking chaya and some they would be in the hotels, not even voting. The men going to vote at home.
The one who gave their signatures.
Yes. These signatures were manufactured by Chebukati and Wafula Chebukati and someone and another mafia man within this government. I'm telling you, to frustrate Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta BBI. I am honest. Kill me. I am honest. I tell you. That is it. Now it is beginning to backfire slowly.
And Chebukati finds himself in trouble.
And now if MCA, you cannot tell someone to come from Katanga to Kiharu as a constituency.
As a member of parliament.
You cannot tell someone that Nairobi will have three members of parliament.
And also, other people have been denied a chance to register now as voters.
Yes.
That this one person was allowed to register, and yet the voting exercise was not taking place.
Yes.
And other voters have been denied that opportunity to vote, to register as voters. Because other people who might wanted to vote, they've been told no.
You know the real campaign. Let's wait for the BBI to come out.
Oh, even the report is ready. I saw that on the Daily Nation, I think page 6.
It is ready. We shall smoke these boys. These boys will be smoked out of town. Watch the side Matanga is always on. We smoke people. When I was on the side of Jubilee, we smoked people. You saw, Baba had to fight it. And now hands up, we've shaken hands. We shall defeat. Let them, these women who are saying, inua skirt, muinue skati mzuri.
Inua dada.
Muinue skati mzuri jameni. Basi sisi bado kuja kwa kiwanja. Bado kuja kwa kiwanja. Tutakuja kwa kiwanja sisi. Tukutane kwa kiwanja nyenye.
Lakini wasiinue sketi.
Sijui skati, sijui wanani. Let them use this 12 days left for laundering the money that you had kept in the mattresses. Buy things for people. Send Maraga somewhere in Kibira. Maraga betting, you have been getting money free. Give it back to the people. Watu ya Kibira kula pesa. Lakini huyu mtu mnapigia mtu kura jameni. Mtu mwenyewe apige kura.
Hajawahi piga kura.
Hajawahi hata kupiga kura jameni. Nchi gani namna gani?
It's a shame.
Sikilize. We have not come on the scene yet. We are veterans. We have won elections in the whole world. Nyenye muone mutaona. You will see. This Wafula Chebukati will not hold, should not be even a commissioner. First sweep him out. 3 commissioners cannot sit and make silly decisions in hotels, in dungeons. They are meeting these guys, fattening their pockets. Take them out. Leti wacha BBI itoke. Utaona kampeni ambayo tutakuwa nayo. Mjaribu tuone. My friend, people want a united state, a country united, not a country divided. You brutalize yourself to presidency. You know, there is this angle of brutalizing yourself. Have you seen how to brutalize yourself? Hata kama unagonga we mguu inaenda huko, unaenda tu. Brutalization to presidency. Read my article tonight. You saw it. You haven't seen it on the legacy. A brutalized journey to presidency. Naona, by tomorrow there will be about 10 counties refusing. And once they hear this, everybody will, because the explanation is very clear. People are in constituencies because each person feels comfortable with a bigger constituency, isn't it? But if you are going to tell people that they want 147 constituencies, the whole Muranga to have only 2, all the way from Kangemi up to Katanga. Kangema up to Katanga. Surely. Kiharu. This one of Kiharu who was making a noise has 0.
Indeed.
He can't convince even one MCA.
He has apologized for the brow.
He doesn't, we don't
The church brow.
let him apologize to his own teeth. We mtu mbaya sana. He did a lot of things. This youngster whom I was paying money here, 5 shillings, 5,000 shillings to talk on TV is making such silly mistakes. It's embarrassing to be on my TV. I hope you are not putting that advert here. Didi Nyoro is a shame to us. To me, especially, I respected that guy so much. But what he did in the church, because you have been, you know, they have the courage, they think that they have been safeguarded by some mafia man.
That's what Grace Mugabe used to think. Now
Yes.
you can see she's terrified.
So you look at Grace
She's
Mugabe.
very but I hope the government will.
No, nobody is going for her.
But she's terrified.
She will.
She is terrified. You can tell. Okay.
Government, state is amorphous. Never play with the state. Muranga was the hotbed of Kandara MP, Wahome. Now let her go and talk. If the MCAs have refused, what will you do? Even if you bring it back, they will refuse. People have seen the truth. Even if you say you are taking people, I told you, even if you reduce them, the MPs to 0, you will never get the problem of Kenya sorted out.
Okay.
So thank you very much. It is up to, we urge everybody, all those countries in the world that have friendship, can tell another friend. We want Singapore to lead the Asian states to vote for us. Malaysia, we have good relationship with Philippines. We have good relationship with Indonesia, Jakarta, Kuala Lumpur. You know, there are some some younger men who write on Facebook, but they don't know cities by head. If you remove a phone from them, they Google all the time. What is the capital city of Malaysia? Google. Capital city of Indonesia? Kuku. Of Thailand? Kuku. Even if you bring me now here, ask. Can you ask one question? Capital city around there. Ask. Test me.
It's okay. I don't want to test you.
Can you test me, please?
You only test free samples when you go to the
No, okay, can you give me a test?
the spray at the
No,
store.
there is no spray. Ask me any country in Asia. The one that comes on your lips.
I know you know.
No, but let's try.
I don't want to try.
Let's try for the cameras.
Let's try for the cameras. The capital city of where now?
Ask.
But you said nearly all of them.
No, but you say. They are countries.
They're countries. And you know, like in the UN countries, there are 66 or 60 of them that have never gotten that seat at the United Nations Security Council.
Yes.
Yes.
I know. So I'm still waiting for you to ask. For any country in the Asian Peninsula.
Asian Peninsula. Now, which country? Our viewers, can you ask him which country, the capital city of any country?
Ask me any country, right? Any country.
Far East, Middle East, other side. Let him respond to that. Our friend Dennis Okello is here today. He said, good afternoon to you, and he's missed the program a lot. Where did you go, Dennis? Yeah, Kuala Lumpur is Malaysian capital.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dennis Okello. But that's why I'm saying, ask me any country in the world. I am not, yes. Juba.
Surely. Omot, come on.
The capital city of Biafra. It should be Onitsha. Or not Onitsha, the Igbo land. Port Harcourt. Or there's another city, yes. That one I don't know. Chinedu Chim. Biafran capital is not Ibadan. No. Not Kano. No. That one in the Biafra. If it can't be Lagos, those are the areas closer there. Okay. I wanted you to ask.
I'll ask.
You have failed.
I've not failed.
You have not asked.
Are you trying to imply that I'm a failure?
No, you are not.
I've never been.
It's Enugu.
It's Enugu.
I was Kanu, Enugu.
Yes.
Yes, the capital city,
The capital city of
Biafra, Enugu.
So they already have a capital city.
Yes.
This is
Enugu is the center.
This is an organized country. Then.
Yes, it has been there for centuries.
Then let the referendum come now.
Yes, it has been there for centuries, Enugu.
And let the people be free.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, there is a smaller country in Southeast Asia. Formerly, it was called West Pakistan. What is the name of that country today? 1, 2, 3.
It was formerly known as West Pakistan. Oh, Jesus, I'm forgetting the name. Between India and...
No, East Pakistan. It was formerly called East Pakistan. The capital city of Islamabad is Pakistan.
Yes, that is the
That's Pakistan.
Yes.
Okay, there was a country called East Pakistan before it got independence. What was the name of that country and the city of that country?
Presently or before?
Even now.
Even now.
Let me say for my viewers, the answer is Bangladesh. The city is Dhaka. The first president is Sheikh Mujib Rahman. Assassinated. The daughter is currently the prime minister of Bangladesh. Anything else you know? Dakar.
The capital of Ambazonia.
Ambazonia is Boa. That's the capital of Ambazonia. Boa. The Boa city. My lawyer is from Boa. Yes. Ask anything, I will answer. I'm not looking anywhere, no phone. That is to test. Some of the children today, we pay our school fees, they are useless. When they go for the interview in Britain and you ask them, where is the River Nile? You say River Nile starts from Cape Town. You see, River Nile starts from Uganda. The source of River Nile is in Uganda, in a town called Jinja. That goes all the way to Port Alexandria. Alexandria was named after the Alexandria, the great Alexandria.
Alexander the Great.
The great. The man who conquered, who turned all those cities. Constantinople. Do you remember Constantinople? Emperor Constantinople. Look at it. Tunis was a center for the trade where the East, people pass through Middle East, Palestine, all the way Damascus, through up to the Great Gorge into Azerbaijan until you reach China. As we talk now, I'm just drawing the Austria, Vienna. The greatest city of Austria is Vienna.
Yes.
The best city in every type of nightlife.
Is there?
If you want to enjoy yourself.
And also it's the place for very good classical music, Vienna, there in Austria. Sort of bathed a lot of classical.
It's a very good, clean city.
It is.
But one of the things that I will not tell you on television is very strange. Ask me offline.
Sour.
I will tell you, then you like it. Since you're a church goer, you won't like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
it's one of the best places for tourism.
Okay. I will not ask what kind of tourism.
I think now you know what I mean.
So, yes.
We are heading there.
All right.
Thank you very much, viewers. Support Kenya. I want to do one small clip.
Ouagadougou is Burkina Faso.
Yeah, Burkina Faso is
Ouagadougou.
Capital. Jeff Maundu, kindly the doctor mentioned to us 2 countries with no standing army but limited military. That is now a very serious one. Which country has no standing army but limited military?
I'm even confused, but you were saying something, Doctor. Just go ahead.
No, I need to mention 2 countries with no standing army. Yeah.
But limited military. No standing army, but limited. That's oxymoronic. No standing army, but limited military.
Yeah. They don't have the army, but they live by God's grace.
That would be South Sudan.
No, South Sudan has army.
They're recruiting the children.
So are they in Africa? No, there's one.
Sounds like South
those
Sudan.
are not in Africa. There's one somewhere. Well, that one pass. Yeah, thank you very much. Jeff will tell us which of these countries are those.
Jeff must be Googling. Tell him you're not Googling.
He has just Googled.
Google stuff.
And you have been disqualified because you Googled.
Yes, because the rest of our viewers are not Googling.
Googling. And that, so you have Googled, you have failed the interview, Mr. Jeff. So thank you very much. I want to take this opportunity and do a small clip. Or we could get from the first clip there.
Yeah.
The first opening was very good.
It was good, yeah.
What do you think, Fred?
It was good. It was fantastic.
It was very good. The opening remarks can be used.
Okay. Somebody is saying Pete Kine. What is this? Does not have an army. I don't know. What is Pete?
The Vatican, yes. One of the countries, now I've remembered, my brain is coming back. Vatican.
Yes.
Is a state, but it has military capability. Am I wrong?
Yes, but with limited military.
I've just remembered. You know how I remembered? I remembered because of St. Gideon. You saw a clip yesterday by Onyango, Dr. Onyango Onyango.
What did Onyango say now?
He said, you know that Onyango Junior. You have interviewed him before.
Here.
No, not here. Several. He said he brought a very good clip when I was the chief negotiator for the peace process of Uganda. It reminded me of St. Gideon. So I've just thought about it and I'm very, very happy about it. Vatican, yes.
It's very good.
I had forgotten. Vatican is a state of its own.
Yes, it does not have a standing army.
But it has the military capability to organize the things. So thank you very much.
The smallest country in the world. All right.
Usually we get shocks from
the updates. Who has died or who is in court?
Djibouti has mobilized African. This Djibouti is going to be a problem, I'm telling you. Now they have mobilized these guys. You see? These are already.
That is it looks like the Arab Parliament, no?
Yes.
That is the. Okay. And you know the Arab Parliament is not in very good terms with
us.
Well, they decided, as we don't have a problem with them, I don't believe Kenya has anything against them, but they decided to get involved between the Kenya-Somali maritime border row. So they're going well with their lobbying. So Kenya should also up its game, you know. When is the vote at the UN supposed to be taking place?
Next week. Next week.
All right. Do we?
Evacuation of South Africans still continues. It's a sort of state.
Some Africans here from South Africa, and Nigerians in particular, have a lot of them have returned home. A few of them, especially the ones with the children, were not allowed to board because some of them did not even have the papers, and in the wake of human trafficking, and so they're still working on their papers that could allow them to go back to Nigeria. And so, yeah, and other countries also are working to evacuate their citizens from South Africa. And yesterday, President Buhari said that he acknowledged the gesture by President Trinidad Ramaphosa, who sent a group of some people to Nigeria to try to calm the tensions that were starting to grow between Nigeria and South Africa in the wake of the xenophobic attacks that were witnessed a couple of over 2 weeks ago. Attacks towards other Africans. Wuja Jonas, you're saying good morning, sir. You're watching from Thailand. Good morning to you. But it is good afternoon, good evening there in Thailand, is it?
Yeah.
Vatican is a refuge for Roman criminals. They steal and hide into the numerous territories that are in separate parts of Vatican. That is what Dennis Okello here is saying. Thank you. So we see them some other time.
So thank you very much. Today it was very bright day down here in Nairobi. Thank you very much wherever you are in Africa. Keep working for Africa. Keep unit of Africa. Keep improving the lives of the people of Africa. Keep giving us the strength, the courage, the determination to be part and a parcel of the re-engagement, the renaissance of this great continent. Thank you very much. Over to you, Miriam.
Yes, indeed, and mine is just to thank you today. Thank you so much for engaging with us. And I'm told still Nnamdi Kanu is still there in Europe, and he's still meeting with them, some officials there from the UN officials there in Europe. So I'll let you know the latest. Of course, today we saw the statements that he made from yesterday's meeting and the address he made at the European Union Parliament. But as we continue to receive more information, we'll keep sharing with you. So thank you so much, and I hope we can meet here again tomorrow for another edition of Good Morning Africa. But for now, Paul Kagi, you just joined as we're just saying our byes, but thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow.